Hello everybody, it's Max with Crypto Talk Now. Recently we did a poll in which a lot of you guys participated in it. Basically, we asked our audience and so on, which of these following ISOs would you like us to cover? And of course the winner was, of course, HBAR. So you may be wondering, well, why isn't the video on HBAR? Well, if anything, I'm going to do a video on HBAR here soon, so be on the lookout for that. But without further ado, this one is for LCX, mainly because I just felt as though I have to do one on LCX. Some of the recent news that has come out was just simply amazing, and of course I wanted to do a proper review, basically just to show our appreciation of LCX and do it basically the right way. A proper review plus a little bit of a deep dive into some of the recent news that has basically transpired roughly within the last few days and so on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's LCX coverage. So glad to do it. So here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and take you right to their particular site. I'm going to full screen this and check it out. If you haven't done so already, really worth checking out. Of course, it's not financial advice. And before we kick things into a little bit more of this particular review, I should say, excuse me, please go ahead and hit that like button, as well as hit that bell notification if you enjoy our content. Again, like, comment, subscribe, all those things definitely help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, so here it is, LCX, Digital Asset Revolution. The future will be tokenized, right? So, by the way, this is another one that's on that list for ISO 222. It's not fully compliant, but it is, again, on that particular list, becoming just that, one of those ISO 222 compliant coins/tokens. So check this out. It says LCX is a regulated trading venue offering a range of digital currencies. Join our compliant token sales. Get access to new and fast growing tokens first. And before we get more into this, I just want to state for the record, LCX impresses me as being a type of company that in the future could be basically like the next Binance, if you will. Now, I know that, there's a lot of FUD going on with the whole concept of Binance and so on, but at the end of the day, there is companies that come from out of nowhere, if you will, that could really, really bring a lot, or, a different element, if you will, to the table. So I'm going to play this right here. It's only about roughly 2 minutes, but it does a really good job of getting to the point of what LCX is all about. And then from there, I'm going to show you guys an outline of a lot of things that LCX offers, the token utility, you name it. And then after that, I want to show some recent news that really, really stood out for me in regards to LCX, on why I decided to go ahead and just hop on the bandwagon, if you will, when it comes to getting on board with LCX. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to come back for a couple minutes of commentary shortly after. Here we go.
LCX.com, the Liechtenstein Crypto Assets Exchange, is a regulated fintech company that focuses on digital asset trading, compliant token offerings, and tokenization. LCX is headquartered in Liechtenstein with offices in Switzerland, India, and USA. In 2020, LCX received 8 crypto-related approvals by the Financial Market Authority. LCX Exchange is a secure and regulated trading platform for cryptocurrencies. LCX Exchange makes it easy to buy, sell, and store cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, LCX token, and more. LCX DeFi protocol is a second-layer blockchain protocol enabling limit orders on Uniswap. LCX DeFi Terminal is a decentralized trading platform for Uniswap with super-fast markets data, beautiful charting, trading view integration, and DeFi indicators such as liquidity and volume. LCX Token Sale Manager is the most advanced and fully compliant platform for any token sale, regardless of whether it is a utility or security token. LCX STO Launchpad provides a compliant one-stop tokenization platform for security tokens to automate the fundraising and investor management on the blockchain. LCX price oracles are credible and decentralized cryptocurrency reference prices. LCX Terminal is a portfolio management platform across all major cryptocurrency exchanges. LCX Token is the fuel of our purpose-built platform. LCX token works as a long-term sustainable incentive mechanism to motivate various stakeholders to participate in the ecosystem. This is LCX, lcx.com.
So one thing I want to point out is think about the last thing that was mentioned, to incentivize stakeholders to participate in the ecosystem, right? That in itself is pretty darn impressive, because let's face it, there's a lot of blockchains out there in which don't have a lot of incentives, if you will, when it comes to having just that stakeholders to be incentivized to participate in an ecosystem. If anything, it just shows the ecosystem and basically says, hey, we got this great blockchain. There's all these different projects and so on. And if anything, maybe somebody will be tuned into various different projects on it. For instance, maybe an NFT marketplace. Maybe, for instance, they have a metaverse platform. Whatever the case be, there's not a lot of just that, right? Incentives, right? So this makes this a lot more, I guess you could say, a platform that stands out compared to just the average Joe Schmo, project out there, right? So for one, it's an exchange, and on top of that, let's get into some of this other information that I have for you guys. How about this? The actual LCX token. So I want to show you this, and we're not going to be able to, of course, do every single part of this, and then I highly recommend, for instance, you always check into, like a white paper, read that. If you're more into the light paper and things like that, again, look into all that information for yourself. But this is what stood out for me, right? So I clicked on, for instance, the LCX token, and of course this comes up and it mentions a few specific things. It says, for instance, LCX token powering the LCX ecosystem, and of course we just basically mentioned the whole thing about the staking incentives and so on in that regard. But look at this. So it says the LCX utility token connects the LCX ecosystem. All right, so it says the LCX token is classified as a utility token, which basically works as a long-term sustainable incentive mechanism to motivate various stakeholders, like we mentioned, to participate in the ecosystem. How? Well, like it mentions, the LCX token is classified as an exchange-based utility token and may be used to pay all fees associated with the services offered by LCX AG. The LCX token can be used as a voucher, listen to this, to pay fees such as fees for LCX terminal subscription, fees for custodian solutions, LCX Vault, fees for exchange transactions for all crypto assets, exchange fees for crypto fiat transactions, processing fees, and other fees within the LCX ecosystem. That's tremendous in itself, and we haven't even got to the rest of this, right? So, I mean, they really, truly are more than just an exchange. And if anything, their native token, right, the LCX token itself has a lot of utility. Now, there's a little bit more. It says the LCX token has been issued by LCX AG in full compliance with applicable laws and regulations in just that Liechtenstein, right? So it says, as per legal assessment performed by qualified legal firms, LCX token can be legally classified as a utility token according to the United States, even the United States, Singapore, European, and Liechtenstein law. That's really impressive to see all these various places that has legally classified it, but here, especially in the United States, right, with all the doom and gloom that's basically happened in light of some of the recent news that's happened and so on, right? You get where I'm going with this, with all the regulation coming soon to crypto, especially here in the United States. So it says specifically, you could read or look at, I should say, the LCX token smart contract right here. The Ethereum ERC20 utility token standard, LCX's token at Etherscan, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap as well, and Coinbase price charts. And of course, it mentions, why should I buy LCX token? Now, while we never provide official, financial advice and so on, if you are interested in getting into this, after, of course, you've done more of your own research, it does mention that by purchasing the LCX token, users get a variety of benefits, right? It's not just, a token with no utility. Think about FTT. Look at where that's at right now, right? There is no utility for FTT right now. FTT hasn't tied into FTX, right? It's absolutely, completely no utility. Just, if anything, it's if you want, you could get into a distressed asset. And again, that's a story for another day. But it says, for instance, it has these benefits. And it says LCX exchange reduction up to 50% trading fees at LCX compliant digital asset exchange. LCX DeFi terminal, get full access, including usage of their second layer DeFi protocol to enable limit orders on Uniswap. Limit orders on Uniswap. Are you kidding? That's great utility right there. Even if I didn't use all the rest of this to be able to create limit orders on Uniswap, that's pretty darn impressive. So it says LCX terminal, become a pro user and pay monthly fees of LCX terminal with LCX token. Some other key highlights here. But for instance, I want to get down to this where it says, furthermore, companies and clients of LCX will have the ability to pay fees for listings, exchange membership fees, or token sale fees with just that LCX token as well. Pretty cool. And then last, it says the LCX token is your chance to be part of LCX vision to bridge the gap between, for instance, traditional finance and the new monetary world powered by blockchain and just that cryptocurrencies. So there is some key exchange listings. There is, for instance, this is on Coinbase and I believe Coinbase Pro, of course Uniswap, heck, it's on Kraken, right? Of course, obviously it's on LCX and so on. There's some other ones that's on towards the end of the video. We'll try to see if there's maybe an update to this. We'll take you straight to the CMC site. On top of that, I do want to show you a little bit in regards to the actual exchange itself. So, for instance, it says buy, sell, and trade. LCX provides you with what you require to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency. It's a secure and compliant platform. Of course, if you want, you can sign up and get started today. But, it gives you an example of, how their exchange works and so on. For instance, you have this list here. It gives you an example of various different cryptos that you can buy, sell, and trade. Obviously ETH, Circle's USDC, heck, Bitcoin if you want. Some of these other ones, Bitcoin Cash, etc., right? Heck, even Doge, right? So I wanted to show you guys that as well. And this is the next part. Of course, there's tutorials, but I did want to get into this before we get into some of the key highlights that I saw that made LCX stand out. So it says we keep platform secure, right? LCX understands your security concerns and maintains the security of the digital assets on LCX. They are a regulated platform. Right? How we know that? Well, if anything, when you saw, for instance, what it mentioned with being officially recognized by the United States, Singapore, and some other places that really stood out, that was really impressive. They have account authentication, wallet security, like it says access control. But let's get into this part right here, account security. So it says mandatory email verification provides an additional layer of security to help prevent malicious attempts such as account theft and data theft. They do basically have just that, two-form factor authentication, which requires, of course, user to enter a verification code. You should be aware of this anyway, especially if you're into crypto for a while now, right? So they have wallet security. The large proportion of your digital assets are kept in their offline air-gapped cold storage system. Think about that, right? Think of how many exchanges don't even offer a cold storage system, right? You always hear the expression, get your crypto off exchanges, get it into cold storage. Well, this sounds pretty appealing, right? So it says only a small percentage of digital assets are safely stored in hot wallets. Pretty interesting. Look at this next statement. This is powerful stuff, in my opinion, in regards to security. Over 90% of digital assets are stored with LCX, are basically stored in a cold wallet, which is not connected to the internet. To ensure the security of the cold wallet, LCX uses hardware security modules, HSM, and multi-signature technologies. Only 10% of digital assets are stored in a hot wallet for day-to-day operations. That makes sense. They're an exchange, right? Our hot wallets are secured with multiple technical solutions to ensure ensure maximum protection and safety. This is why I feel as though they're going to be a big player as far as an exchange, because if anything, they're not just your everyday typical exchange. They stand out. They're unique, powerful stuff. I feel bullish on these types of statements, and if anything, I feel that much more bullish, especially with the price of how undervalued this thing is. All right. If you want to read more about the compliance and regulations, you're more than welcome to do so. The access control and so on. I know I'm not in the frame, but if anything, I wanted to blow this up bigger because, you know, this is the nitty gritty. You need to be able to see this a little bit bigger than seeing my mug. All right. With that said, I want to take you to the next part, which really stood out for me, I should say. So look at this. And we shared this on the live show yesterday. And if anything, this is crucial stuff. And it's in my opinion, very impressive. So it says it's not a question if, the question is when, right? And look at this. This comes straight from the World Economic Forum. I know, I get it. You know, you may be thinking, oh boy, you know, straight from Mr. Klaus Schwab. Now, this is not Klaus reading it. I mean, it could be. But basically it says LCX. All right, I'll do it in the Klaus Schwab voice. A blockchain bank for the new financial world. No, I'm not going to do that. Right. LCX's goal is to become one of the world's first licensed and supervised blockchain banks, seamlessly blending traditional and crypto assets. LCX will be offering a next generation digital asset exchange, a security token exchange, a crypto asset financial products and services. And on top of that, LCX is focused on helping both traditional and blockchain markets participants make the most of opportunities arising from the growth of cryptocurrencies and tokenized assets. LCX was founded in 2018 and is based in Vaduz, Liechtenstein. LCX is building the infrastructure to power professional crypto finance. Of course, we were already at the site and so on. I love the statement at the bottom. It says liquidation of the main exchanges and the hedge funds burn the industry to the ground just in time for CBDCs. By the way, I know a lot of you guys have seen our quant coverage. Think about this. It's all in line, right? Just in time for CBDCs and banks to be the new custodians and exchange centers of crypto. Some legit exchanges may get bank status. LCX. I've heard about this for the longest time. People in our audience even mentioned it. What stands out with LCX above all things is that they're not just an exchange, but they're an exchange that is going to become a bank. That is really powerful. Remember we talked about, for instance, on previous videos with with XRP, right? XRP basically becoming a bank. Look at this. This exchange is going to probably become a bank. Do you not feel bullish yet? I don't know what to say. Look here. This is another one I want to show you. This really stood out. This is what really made news headlines, not just from the likes of Bloomberg, but, you know, let's face it, crypto Twitter, if you will, crypto, you know, not just mainstream, but community-driven news is what I'm trying to say. So it says LCX becomes first physical validator in Liechtenstein and globally, straight from Bloomberg Business, right? This was, let's face it, this is on the 20th, so it was about, 3 days ago, 5 a.m. my time, which is mountain time. So LCX becomes first physical validator in Liechtenstein and globally, right? So it says Vaduz, Liechtenstein, December 20th, 2022. LCX, a leading blockchain and cryptocurrency company, is pleased to announce that it has received regulatory approval as a physical validator according to the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, TVTG, an actual freaking act. This makes LCX the first and only company, listen to this, in Liechtenstein, as well as the first company worldwide, right? Good thing they mentioned and worldwide, because I mean, if it was the first in Liechtenstein, that's like saying, you know, this makes it the first and only, you know, for instance, company in Worcester, Massachusetts to do this. Okay, is that significant? Okay, kind of, but what's even more significant is where it states specifically right here, as well as the first company worldwide to attain this registration. Again, even that much more impressive I'm feeling very bullish on this, to say the least. So it says, as a physical validator, LCX is responsible for maintaining the integrity and security of the tokenized assets on the blockchain. This involves verifying the authenticity of underlying assets and the physical safekeeping of the real-world assets. Wow. The role of physical validator is critical to the overall health and stability of the blockchain industry, as it helps to prevent fraud and other malicious activities. And with everything that's happened with, for instance, FTX, let's be honest about it, being an exchange, you have to show that you have some kind of health, stability of the in the blockchain industry, I should say, to prevent just that fraud, right? Especially if you have somebody at the top of your company, right? CEO like Sam Bankman-Fried, who's committing just that, fraud. And having another guy, what's his name, Wang or whatever, who basically did what? He wrote code to create this darn thing that happened to rob people. Horrible, horrible thing. I believe there's places called hell for people like that. You better believe it. And it says, and other malicious activities. Now, look at this particular statement straight from Monty C.M. Metzger, the CEO of LCX. It says, as the first physical validator in Liechtenstein and globally, we are proud to take on this important responsibility and contribute to the growth and stability of the blockchain industry. At LCX, we're committed to driving innovation and adoption through projects like Diamonds. I'm going to call it just Diamonds. It might be pronounced different, think about like diamonds, but Diamonds. Tokenizing real world. Listen to this, diamonds as NFTs. Like, wow. Is anybody else doing, the tokenization, if you will, of diamonds? That's really, really impressive, to say the least, right? So it says, we are excited to continue our dedication to compliance and expanding our reach in the coming year. I mean, when you hear something like that, if anything, it's like, wow, I picture a future James Bond movie. He's down in Monaco. He's basically, at the high rollers table, if you will, right? And he pulls up his app while he's waiting for everybody to kind of, get their drinks and so on. And what does he do? He literally shows him in the movie, basically launching this diamond NFT, because diamonds are forever, if you will. Yeah, I know. Kind of a corny punchline, but you know what? I don't think we're too far away from that, to be honest. So it says, for instance, we are excited to continue our dedication to compliance and expanding our reach in the coming year. And I think they proved that, right? For them to even be recognized from the United States, that right there was really, really impressive, in my humble opinion. So it says, the Diamonds project by LCX demonstrates the potential for tokenizing physical assets. Diamonds is a platform for tokenizing diamonds, allowing investors to purchase and trade diamond assets using blockchain technology. That is so impressive. Again, I've always wanted to state this, before, and I'll basically state it again. I forgot who originally said this. I think it was a lady from Stellar, believe it or not. And she basically mentions, let's regulate basically activity, but let's not regulate innovation or technology. Right? Because if anything, that puts a hindrance on things. Look at this particular statement, right? The tokenization of diamonds, allowing investors to purchase and trade diamonds using blockchain technology. Diamond assets using blockchain technology. I myself probably will never do that, but I mean, come on. That is so unique and so impressive. So it says tokenizing ownership rights to a diamond is an example of bringing a physical real-world asset online. In this case, a physical validator is responsible for ensuring that the diamond exists and ensuring that it is securely stored. As a regulated and liable party, the physical validator plays a critical role in maintaining the integrity and security of the tokenized process. With regulatory approval as a physical validator, LCX is well positioned to expand the diamonds platform in 2023 and continue its efforts to drive innovation and adoption in the blockchain industry. Now, in regards to a little bit more about LCX, you can read up a lot more in regards to this, but I thought it was a very well put together, and then, it's from Bloomberg, whether you're a fan of them or not, but let's face it, mainstream news covering basically something that usually doesn't get this much attention. right? Super, super bullish in my humble opinion. Now, of course, this is something that I do normally for you guys, and that is some of these deep dives. You got to understand the significance of what has happened in the present by rewinding to the past. So shout out to Philip Sandner. He posted this all the way back on October 7th, 2019. And if you may be wondering, well, I don't understand the significance of this. Why are you so bullish on this, Max? Well, I'll tell you why I'm so bullish. Because when you see an article like this and what Liechtenstein Blockchain Act basically, the reason why it was introduced, and, for instance, why LCX has brought this to full fruition, if you will, recently with all this hot news, if you will, that's making it on Bloomberg and so on, it makes it that much impressive to say the least. So it says all the way back then, Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, how can nearly any right and therefore any asset be tokenized based on the token container model? Well, he breaks it down, right? So, it mentions all this, so on. In January 2020, the new blockchain laws will come into force. In Liechtenstein, right, we get it, right? Like all these different things happen, right? But this key thing at the bottom, this will significantly reduce the time and cost needed for tokenization processes. Ultimately, hundreds, if not thousands of tokens can be expected to be issued in Liechtenstein in 2020. What exactly will be tokenized? Almost everything. And if anything, it wasn't just Liechtenstein. It was the rest of the world, right? So, you can read up more about this act and see where it wasn't passed. And, some of that stuff is impressive and whatnot. But I also like where it says this particular highlight. It says the new law uses the generic word trustworthy technology. Trustworthy technology. Again, do not suppress the technology. If anything, if you want to regulate something, regulate the activity of what these people are doing on blockchain, the sinister stuff, right? Like, for instance, the dog crap coins of last year or earlier this year, in which you see clearly on Etherscan, this dev who's not showing his face, he's rugging the community. How do we know that? Well, look what's going on Etherscan. Let's track wallet activity and so on. Again, let's follow the activity, but let's not regulate the technology unless it's sinister technology. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it says, look at this. Trustworthy technology, which can, of course, include blockchain and DLT systems. But when we go further down here, it says, allow rights and assets to become tokenized. Tokenization means that as of January 2020, nearly any right or asset can be packaged into a token according to token container model. They already accomplished this, and think about all the time it took for them to do some of this stuff. So, for instance, the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act also integrates the fact that the physical world always needs to be in perfect synchrony with the digital world of the tokens. I will read this next part. This is very important because tokens can be, for example, lost or stolen. For this reason, Liechtenstein amended the civil law, which is truly fascinating. This, by the way, is one of the facts that makes the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act really outstanding and, in our mind, a best-in-class framework. I want to state this, all right? I'm a fan of Crypto.com's exchange, all right? Whether you are, and so on. But I've seen people, for instance, like when they go and they switch their assets from the native wallet app, right? The Crypto.com app, and then switch it to the DeFi wallet. Sometimes people don't realize they need to switch it to, specific ones like a certain type of validator and whatnot. And as a result, when they switch it over, because the reason why they're doing the switch over is because they're getting literally double on the APR, right? That's why I did it, right? With my CRO. There is so many people out there that have lost their tokens, right? Or coins, I should say. Coins and tokens, depending on what you're staking, right? But they lost it on the blockchain, right? And some of those, it's horrible. Even if it was just $100, hey, money is money. I like some of what is mentioned here, right? So, for instance, if somebody was to lose it, they have a method or some way to basically, retrieve that. These are things to protect what? New investors. A lot of new investors don't know what the heck they're doing. Let's be honest. They got to go online, watch a video, do more of their own research and so on. That puts up barriers on which newbies who never did this before don't want to come into it because they think it's too much of a risk, right? You have something like this to ensure this, that creates that much more incentive to create that mass adoption. Tie in the whole fact that, this is going to be a very impressive exchange. Sky's the limit, right? So they got a little bit more. The token container model, we could read more about that if you want. But, if you want the quick gist of it, it says the token container model makes very clear that a security token is nothing else than a security with all the rules, licenses, duties, etc. applying to it, technically packaged into the token, which loads basically duties, etc. applying to it, technically packaged into the token, which loads the security like a container. Now, if you're wondering, the word container is meant literally. The token can be transferred to new owners, can be managed in a portfolio, or can safely be stored by a custody provider without the right and asset within the container changing. And of course, they give more of these illustrations. They do a very good job breaking it down and so on. Especially this right here. It says, number one, takes the physical asset in custody. Number two, I'm blowing it up for you. Token represents the right. And then number three, disposal over the token results in the disposal over the right. Now, I want to get down to some of this last parts. I know this is really, really more of a deep dive compared to just a review. So they got this part right here. Tokenization of any right and asset. So it says specifically, according to the token container model, any asset or right can basically be represented by a token. Some examples can be seen, of course, in that figure. A software license right or an access right can be put into the token container. In most jurisdictions, this would be classified, of course, as a utility token. If the token is sold to the market before the development of the product has actually been finished, this process is called initial coin offering, as we know, which is an ICO. And of course, remember what happened with Quant? They didn't have an ICO. Again, these are other things that make this that much more impressive to me, because that tells me that this is what, just like you saw in the last Quant video, especially if you're coming from Quant watching this, it tells you that this, in my humble opinion, is regulation safe because of these particular things outlined for you. Now, I want to state this, for instance, also. It says, next, applying the European e-money framework would allow to package traditional currencies such as the euro or the Swiss franc into a token. These tokens would be classified as payment tokens, more precisely euro tokens, digital euro, euro on blockchain, cash on ledger, etc. This is nothing else than putting a euro into a token by applying e-money rules for the content of the container. Ultimately, the security can be packaged into a token, then all security laws apply, and the result is a security token. It's sold to investors. We call this process a security token offering. Think about that. And look at this breakdown. I'll blow it up a little bit more. So, for instance, you have, like, for instance, a certificate of stock, right? And, from there, it goes to a security token. You have, for instance, a euro. I've actually had euros in my possession, I don't know, about 15 years ago. So you have 100 euros there, for instance, the physical euro, right, the fiat. Then it goes from there to digital euro cash stablecoin. The software license to utility token. And of course, you see right here, like it says, nothing to cryptocurrency, crypto asset. These are just various different figures. But if anything, it gives you a full breakdown of the meaning of all this, why it's significant. I could get more into this, but to be honest, this video is getting a little bit longer than I thought it would be. But it says, for instance, tokenization follows a life cycle. You could get more into this, but they do a very, very good job of breaking this down. You literally see the whole outline of how significant this is, dating all the way back to 2019, and to see this come into full fruition in regards to what they basically accomplished here recently, like what you see right here, straight from Bloomberg and other outlets, by the way, of how LCX became a first physical validator in Liechtenstein, and just that globally, I think is really, really massive. Be on the lookout, in my humble opinion, for LCX to have a lot of upside potential. We're still in the bear market. LCX, as we speak, is up 12%. I do think it has a lot to do with some of this recent news. And it's just an absolute buy. Its rank is sitting at 451. It's technically a low market cap gem, in my humble opinion. You do have the audits. You have Certic and Hacken. They do have a verified market cap on CMC of 26,933,000. the volume has been tremendous. Why? Think about it. There's people that done their own research. They have looked more into this. Look at this volume. That's a lot of volume. 1,812% up. Why? Because the people who done their research and seen these particular articles, whereas Bloomberg, whereas Crypto Twitter, you name it, right? The community-driven news, they understand that this is nothing to just dismiss. This is something that has been in the works since 2019, and that brings a lot to the table, to say the very least. I want to show you guys this real quick before I come back into the frame. So all-time highs for LCX happened basically towards the end of that last bull run for 2021, when we saw, for instance, Bitcoin on 1111, right, go up to 69k. Ethereum, of course, roughly was at 43, 45k, and so on. Those were all-time highs and so on. So right before all that was happening, LCX basically, went parabolic, if you will, up to 48 cents a coin. And if anything, I think in the future, there's a lot of potential for this, to say the least. I think we'll achieve new all-time highs easily. It's not financial advice. It's just how I personally feel about it. In regards to exchanges, centralized exchanges, they're on Coinbase, Kraken, like we mentioned before, Probit, some of these other ones, right? Obviously, LCX, why wouldn't they be? Hotbit, BTC, never heard of that particular one, and a few of these other ones, right? As far as decentralized exchanges, obviously it's going to be Uniswap. I don't see it on any other ones, but yeah, it's on there as well. I'm going to come back into particular frame after I show you guys this. So I share this on crypto Twitter, or my Twitter I should say, and basically, I mean, this is the new crypto cheat sheet, or basically ISO cheat sheet 2.0, if you will. And of course, you see LCX being part of this list for ISO 222. It has asterisks on it because it's not officially ISO 222, but it is on the list to becoming compliant. You do see that it costs about 6 cents per transaction, and they have a decent speed of 100 plus transactions per second. Not too bad, especially when it comes to being an exchange, right? Very, very impressive. And then combined with that, with the whole idea that they're going to become potentially a bank, wow, that is something to say the least. All right, going to come back here in the frame. And if anything, guys, I was really, really glad to introduce LCX to you guys, especially the ones that never heard about and so on, maybe wanting a little bit more information. But that recent information in regards to that physical validator, not just in Liechtenstein, but worldwide, man, super, super impressive. I myself personally, I need to get into LCX. Not telling you what to do, not financial advice, but more than glad to bring you guys this LCX coverage. Be on the lookout for more updates. I'll tell you that much. I'm that much impressed with it and so on. And I think if anything, you guys do appreciate some of our ISO coverage of various different ones, not just quant, right? XRP, XLM, XDC. But of course, some of the ones we've done recently, ALBT, and now you can add LCX to that particular list. So if you enjoy the comment, or I should say content, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you enjoy a live show, check us out every single day of the week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, for Crypto Talk Now live, either with myself or Larry or both. And on top of that, we have this thing called the Crypto Roundtable every single Wednesday, the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, with various other content creators of the community. So guys, I hope you all have a great Merry Christmas Eve coming up, and Christmas especially on Sunday. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, the whole shebang. Thanks again. May all have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.